Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman and Spawn Special Super Duper 2-pack, which is kind of like a 2-pack of reused parts, mostly with a few new parts, and it's kind of a cool set. There's some really nice things going on. There's the usual bad stuff that we see from McFarlane Toys, but I think some of you may be surprised at a few things here, and others are probably not going to care. But like I said, there's some good stuff, some bad. We're going to go through all of it. 2 figures, 1 review. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit, but we'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, this guy stands to the top of his head just about, we'll call it 7 3/8. That's going to make him roughly, let's just say a little over 18.5 centimeters for Batman. We are going to get, not counting his ears because that's cheating, he's going to stand just about almost 19.5. So he's got some size to him. That's going to make him pretty close to 7 and let's say 5/8. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Spawn supposed to be taller than an average human? Isn't he like 7 feet tall or something like that? I'm not the biggest Spawn buff. I don't know everything about the character, but I'm pretty sure he should be bigger than Batman. So that's a little bit weird that he is kind of dwarfed by him in this particular, like Batman looks huge compared to Spawn. And so that's interesting because, well, this is a 7-inch scale figure, and this uses a lot of parts from the other Spawn figure, which isn't exactly 7-inch scale from the Mortal Kombat Spawn. So that's a strange thing. You guys can let me know about that scaling issue. To me, that seems like kind of a big oversight, but that's the kind of thing that this company's been doing a lot lately, which is just driving people nuts because they're so able to do better. Anyway, let's do a quick comparison. There's those two guys. Here's Darwin, totally different scale. He's in scale with Darwin though, Spawn is, whereas Batman is obviously just huge. Okay, we're gonna take a look at Batman first in each of the different categories. So let's talk about the aesthetic. I have to say I really do like the dark gray look. I don't know what it is with McFarlane Toys though, where their grays almost always have yellow in them. This gray definitely has a touch of yellow and it throws off the look a little bit, but it also kind of works. I don't hate it. I like this combo of colors. The very dark gray with the black and then the yellow details. It's a nice look. It's definitely a lot of reused parts that don't go together great. You can see in his abdomen, he's got a ton of little wrinkles in there, little clothing details that you don't see anywhere near as much everywhere else. So it throws it off quite a bit, and also he's kind of shiny in some places and then not in others, so that throws it off a little bit as well. But the belt and the logo are painted cleanly enough. Let's take a look at the face. Definitely a stylized look, and I'm guessing that was on purpose, but he's got this really big underbite sort of situation going on, and it does throw off the look a little bit from certain angles, but I don't mind it too much personally. He does have the backward ears. I think it's a pretty cool head sculpt. He's not missing his forehead this time, and the details are sculpted pretty well, even though he's got the underbite. Paint is clean, there's shading throughout the skin, the mouth is painted pretty well. He's got the smaller eyes, which look kind of menacing. I like it, it's pretty good. Does have the spiky shoulders. I'm guessing that is, well, I don't know, these capes are very heavy and the figures aren't usually this capey. So I was thinking this was used from that other Batman figure that they've released, but maybe it's a new one. I haven't reviewed that one, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty aesthetically pleasing Batman. It's not great. He's still kind of strange looking, kind of flat looking, kind of squishy looking, but it does have a decent look, and like I said, the cape is pretty well done. It's a very heavy, thick material. So it's probably as thick as my ruler, which is definitely not usually the case. But it's pretty well sculpted. It's not symmetrical, but it's balanced enough. Yeah, I think he looks pretty good, if not a little bit doughy, which is usually the case for their Batman figures. But it's definitely one of the better examples of a decent Batman from McFarlane Toys. So for Batman, I'm going to give him an 8. He looks pretty good, especially for a McFarlane Toys figure of late. All right, let's take a look at Spawn. And this guy, there's definitely some new stuff going on, definitely some reused stuff going on, but it is, I think, the first non-Mortal Kombat officially licensed Spawn figure with a full cape of classic Spawn. So that's a thing, that's pretty good. The cape is also very heavy, very thick. This takes me right back to the early 2000s when McFarlane Toys and lots of other companies are just putting these gigantic capes on things, and I appreciate it. Like, okay, it's not going to pose as well, it's going to be back heavy and it's going to be cumbersome, but it looks damn nice, so I'm definitely okay with that. As far as paints go on this guy, he does get a little bit more than Batman, which, by the way, he has no shading or anything anywhere. I didn't mention that. It's just where absolutely necessary for like the gloves, the belt, the logo, and the face, that kind of thing. Now Spawn, like I said, he does have more. All of the things that should be silver are silver. That's nice. His little stubbies, his little buckles, his belt, everything is silver where it should be, so I definitely appreciate that. The white is painted pretty cleanly. It's definitely good enough. That's fine, especially around the face. Awesome head sculpt. Paintwork is definitely good enough. The shading around the eyes is wonderful. Very pleased with that. There's some kind of wash going on to dirty up the cape. So it doesn't actually look like a wash. It looks like dry brushing, honestly, because it sits high. It's not sitting low. So, but either way, it looks nice. It's probably more appropriate anyway to have that. So yeah, I like that a whole bunch. One thing that stands out is his diaper piece is not as dark as the rest, and it's more of a matte finish. So it throws off the look just a little bit, but it's not too bad. Now here's something that some people might hate. And this was done absolutely on purpose, and I don't understand why. Look at where the clasps are. They're purposely not in the same place, which makes no sense to me at all. Why is this one so low? Is it just supposed to look like the cape is flowing, but the clasps aren't they supposed to be actually like connected to his suit to hold the cape in place? I mean, I don't know how that works lore-wise, but to me it makes no sense for the clasps to be so different, and you can't fix it because they are pegged in. There are holes in the chest in both locations. So if you don't like things that look weird like that, you're not gonna like this. It's super strange that they did that. And of course, once you pose him, you might not notice it as much, but that is just driving me crazy. That's such a weird choice. All that being said, again, no shading anywhere except for the cape. Even on the belt buckles and the boot and things, it's definitely could use a little bit more of a wash. It's a really nice looking figure, so this one's gonna get a 9 out of 10 for me. Definitely has more paint than Batman, but so far this set is looking pretty darn good. I'm very pleased with it. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the accessories, and the first thing I want to talk about is this, which is the reason I didn't show you my package this time. This is the same artwork that's on the package. You get this plastic, super thin, cheap, feels like ABS plastic, but it's fine. It has a wash on it. Little skulls and rocks and things. It's annoying that the skulls and rocks are all the same color, but whatever. You get this. It's card art. Is there anything on the back? Nothing worthwhile. I don't know why they bother doing that. I guess if you just wanted that in the background. But whatever. You get Spawn and Batman, and here's the interesting thing about this right here. That's not the Spawn or the Batman that comes in the package. This Batman has a different look altogether. Light gray, blue details, not black, and don't say it's blue shading because Spawn is clearly black, and you can see it's so obvious to tell when they're shading black and when they're shading blue. That's dark. He's got mostly gray. Anyway, blue Batman, different look altogether, different ears, different everything. Spawn has the red on him, no boot. Like, it's totally different. I would prefer this set of figures, frankly. I think this is a really good combo of things. That one's okay. But yeah, it's weird. Super weird. Nice quality, but it'd be really weird to display your figures in front of a card that doesn't show those designs. So you get that, and then, interestingly enough, we also get our trading cards, our collector cards, whatever you want to call them, which match that big card. I mean, they're not from that. It's a different set of drawings, but it's still the blue Batman with the shorter ears and different look, lighter gray, and then it's still the red and black Spawn with no boot. I don't know, and the red gloves. So I don't know what's going on. Why we got those makes no sense at all. They even made Batman's thing blue. I don't get it. That's weird. And to go with that, in case you were wondering, saving the good for last, we get our DC display stand, which is par for the course for Batman, and we get a Spawn one for Spawn, which has a very oversized McFarlane Toys Spawn head, and that is, it looks to me like it was an error because it's so big, but I don't know, I guess, that's gonna look weird on the shelf. One of them that's just kind of a black silkscreen, and then this one is just a bright white in-your-face oversized Spawn logo, but you get those. And then for the real accessories, Batman does come with some alternate hands. So on him, he comes with these two kind of clenched up hands, and then you do get a gripping hand and a fist hand. No 2 fist hands, which is kind of weird. And then also for Batman, you get this ridiculously oversized, fat, lumpy pancake of a Batarang. And then for Spawn, no alternate hands. You just get his big sword, which is pretty well done, though it's very soft PVC. It's probably the same material as the capes. It's painted pretty well, other than that weird transition from the grimy part to the silver part on the blade. Looks pretty good otherwise. So that's it. Not a ton of stuff that's actually practically useful, but it's a decent enough spread of accessories, so I will go 9 out of 10. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, because you really don't get that much. It's just a bunch of card stock. I'm going to go 8 out of 10. It's still better than usual, but it's not great. Okay, now as far as Batman goes, we're going to run the articulation pretty quickly because, like I said, most of this is not new stuff. I don't want to waste your time. All right, so the neck is articulated at the base of the neck, not at the base of the head at all. So you get relatively limited range. You can look down very well, but looking up, even looking forward, does create a gap right there. So it's not great, but it's okay. Obviously, the cape hangs pretty low, so it's going to get in the way of the shoulders a little bit, but you can get them out there. Man, this is one of the worst bodies they could have chosen to use. I don't get it. Anyway, you can bring the arms up. Cape keeps them from going any farther, but that'll do, I guess. Bicep swivel is fine. You saw that it is sculpted underneath there, though, which is not a great thing. I mean, the bicep is sculpted a little bit under there. Double jointed elbows work nicely, no problem. Ball hinge wrists work nicely, no problem. He can not lean back very far, so that's kind of lame. Can't lean forward very far either. Why they're still using this crappy body, I don't know. He can't really lean side to side either. Horrible torso, does rotate. At the lower part, he leans back a little bit. Leans side to side a little bit and can rotate, still can't go forward. Bringing the legs out to the side, basically full on splits, so that is fine by me. Going forward though, his diaper does get in the way, can't get it up to horizontal. Can't really bring the legs back either, not too far. Thigh swivel is there, not too bad, could be better. Double jointed knees work nicely, no problem there. Proportioning is still really weird, super long lower legs. Ankles are heavily ratcheted and super annoying, but you get good range in every direction. And then lastly, you get a toe hinge, which is too far back, and it's a little bit of a ratchet, so it's okay. So, also his hips are pretty loose and so are his knees. So his articulation doesn't function particularly well, and it doesn't have a particularly high standard of quality control. So his articulation is only going to get a 5 out of 10. This guy doesn't pose particularly well. All right, and then let's go ahead and talk about Spawn. Trying to not take too long on this since we've seen most of these parts before, so if you don't like the rushing, slow down the video, I guess. All right, so he can look up and down nicely. Well, he can't go up any farther than that because of the cape, but that's understandable. Leaning side to side. Oh, the benefits of a double ball peg, and obviously he can rotate and lean at the same time and give himself some real attitude. Love a good double ball peg, and that's a good one. Shoulders, forget about it. Like, there's so much meat here. It's not even hollow where you think it might be hollow right here. There's, like... That's solid plastic right in there. This guy's arm is not going anywhere useful. This side, enough. It'll move enough, but not too much. The joint's kind of loose. Bicep swivel is there. Double jointed elbows there. Ball hinge wrist is there. But again, these arms are not doing much of anything. For the torso, the cape is really keeping it from doing anything going backwards. Side to side is okay, and you get your rotation. This is definitely more of a statue set than action figure set. Hips go forward, not quite all the way. Going out to the side, full on splits, no problem. Thigh swivel is basically non-existent on this guy. There's a little bit of motion, but not too much. Double jointed knee does work nicely. He's not loose, at least. And he has much better proportioning than Batman, so that's good. Then for the ankle, big old ball hinge ankle. More positions than Batman, so it's going to be a little bit better, but it's still difficult to get the McFarlane figures to stand because the ratchets are fairly heavy. See how I can't find a neutral? There's no middle ground. So that's annoying, but you do get good range out of those ankles. No problem with that. And then the toe hinge is actually solid. It's not too bad. This ankle does have all of the same engineering, but of course the boot will get in the way. All right, so articulation on this guy, he's going to get a 4 out of 10. It works even worse than Batman. The cape is nice, but it does hold him back. Okay, so before we get into the final rating for this set, we have to rate the cake. So Batman's cake, hidden behind his cape as it may be, we have to rate it. It's there, but it's not good. He's only going to get a 3 out of 10 for the cake. There's something but not much. And then for Spawn, Spawn's cake is very defined. I think you can see what he had for lunch based on the depth of that crevasse. So, and he's got some bulge there too for the cheeks. The glutes have been worked. So I'm gonna say Spawn gets a 7, so that's pretty nice. Okay, time for a final verdict on this set. There's some really good stuff going on, and then they don't pose for crap. Accessories, I mean, it's better than normal, but it's still not exactly impressive. So it's a weird set. It's like I really want to like it, and I kind of do, but then also I think about it, I'm like, well, it actually can't pose very well, and there's weird stuff going on. So I'm gonna just knock it down to an overall 7. The good is good, the bad kind of holds it back. The fact that Spawn is so much smaller than Batman is not ideal at all. Part of that would be saved if Batman didn't have super long lower legs, but it's still just a really weird set. It's kind of awesome, but if you're not invested in either of these characters and don't care about their designs, then you're going to be able to notice the bad stuff for sure. So I think 7 is a very fair rating, if not a little bit generous overall. So there it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.